סקטור המשרדים עובר שינוי עמוק מאז מגיפת הקורונה, ועמה המעבר לעבודה גמישה מהבית ומהמשרד. השינוי יוצר אתגרים משמעותיים, כמו גם הזדמנויות לשחקנים מנוסים ובעלי יכולת ניתוח וביצוע. רגע לפני פגישה עם משקיעים, שאלנו את בנג'מין מנכ"ל ומייסד 10 Capital Management משותפותיה של פרופימקס, כיצד החברה מאתרת נכסים אטרקטיביים, אילו סוגי משרדים יענו לדעתו מביקושים חזקים גם בעתיד, ואילו יתרונות הוא רואה בנכסים מסוג פלקס-לייט.
10 Capital Management is a middle-market private equity real estate investment management firm that seeks to outperform institutional investment managers by being rigorous, nimble, and decisive, and by operating below the institutional radar as a means of trying to achieve outperformance. We have two principal objectives. The first is to outperform on investment performance, and the second is to deliver superior client service by being actively engaged and actively communicating with our investors throughout the investment process through disposition. We seek to outperform by taking a fundamental value-based approach and a high margin of safety-based approach by looking at the world on a relative value basis from the top down and understanding the assets that we're considering from the bottom up. That means an intense focus at the micro-market level, an intense long-term study of any given market class or asset in which we might consider investing. All of the principals of 10 Capital Management have extensive institutional investment management experience and have managed capital on behalf of some of the world's largest endowments, foundations, pension funds, and other institutions. We take a similar approach to middle market strategy. We try to put the processes in place that reflect the best level of institutionality, acumen, discipline, and control. And what that means is rigor from the moment we start examining a market, a particular building, the competitive assets within it, and also the general demographic trends, larger trends, macro trends that might influence a potential outcome on exit. All of the partners at 10 Capital Management have extensive institutional investment management experience. That experience drives everything we do. We take a top-down, bottom-up approach to understanding markets and assets on a relative value basis. Our process is highly selective. We look at over $2 billion of opportunities for equity investment in any given year, and we might execute on 2% of those. We like areas that are characterized by sustained growth or distress, where we might find really attractive pricing in very attractive markets that we think will benefit from long-term demographic trends, or trends that reflect a robustness from institutional capital following a particular theme. As middle market players, we generally want to be out in front of the larger institutional funds and be quicker to act and where we see them going. They may be subject to larger fundraising periods which are extended and takes time before they can actually get capital to work and deploy them. So generally what we're trying to do is get in front of that flow of funds and gobble up effectively assets which we know that will be the beneficiaries of increased demand. For example, we like the Flex Light Industrial Business Park theme. It allows investors to gain exposure to a multitude of use cases on highly attractive product where land values have appreciated over time and we're in the way of the flow of funds from larger institutional allocators. Flex Light Industrial Business Parks are today characterized by highly fractionalized non-institutional ownership, which for us represents an opportunity to capitalize on potential mismanagement at the operations level of a particular property, and also an opportunity to get into markets at smaller equity check requirements that would often be less competitive than one might find in, say, the big box industrial space. In short, we know that all office is not created the same. There's a huge difference between highly amenitized Class A properties, whether in the central business districts or in the suburbs. And we also know that there is a flight to quality. We think the office will become a real focus and a workplace where people can innovate and collaborate, meet, and get together and learn from one another. We think those who take advantage of that opportunity will likely be advantaged over the long term as business enterprises, and we also think that hybrid work is really here to stay. How that manifests itself over time remains to be seen, but we think that the most challenged assets within the office category are likely to be the B and C properties, particularly around economies where there's been a high concentration of technology employment.